Righty then, back once again for another reaction. This time it's RWBY, Volume 7, Chapter 12, with friends like these. So that to me says that this is the RWBY versus Aesop's, as in RWBY versus Aesop's chapter/episode. And we'll be wrapping things up next time. But for now, we have to deal with the immediate fallout to the gang being told that they are now under arrest. While there's a lot of saving people to do, and Ironwood's adamant on launching Atlas up into the sky and leaving Mantle behind, which, as I've said before in the previous reaction, I actually really like this conflict. It's a lot more nuanced than people's knee-jerk reaction might feel it to be. I noticed a lot of reactors who were even on board with Ironwood. I remember as I saw this one girl, I forget which of the female reactors it was, but she was straight up giving the middle finger to Ironwood. And like, that's it, I'm done with Ironwood kind of reaction. But I think that kind of misunderstands the point of what happened. Like, Ironwood has never been the bad guy in this scenario. For me to be the bad guy in the literary sense, you need to have bad intentions. Ironwood is only doing what he thinks is the best course of action. Like, he is trying to save the guaranteed few over risking everything. And as a military man, and as somebody who wants to save people just like everyone else, but is a bit more objective-minded, like, that is a completely logical course of action for him to take. That is completely understandable course of action, especially someone who's sick of being given this runaround by the villains, sick of being humiliated, sick of losing every step and always being one step behind. He feels like the only way to truly win in this conflict is to get what Salem wants as physically far away from her as she can possibly go. Like, he's adamant that if they get Atlas up into the air high enough, the relic will be untouchable. So I'm assuming when he says that they'll use the Amity plan for Atlas, that Atlas is going to be taken to space, and he believes that the island's artificial climate will keep them safe in the vacuum of space. I do admit that they would have to deactivate the staff if they ever wanted to come down, but I assume that's a bridge that he would pass if it ever came to it. You know, I do admit that I don't quite get how he was going to handle the fact that they do need to come down eventually. Like, let's be real here. It's fair enough sending a communications tower up there because you don't need someone to man that unless it decays over time and breaks on its own, but there are some definite holes in the let's fly Atlas high into the atmosphere plan, but you've got to admit, in the situation these characters are in, it's literally the only plan they have right now, whereas RWBY's idea, rather than a plan, is, oh, well, we can't just abandon people, we need to stand our ground to the bitter end. But as Ironwood's thinking, it's like, well, why do we need to have a bitter end? Like, we can live to fight another day and complete the objective of getting all of this shit away from Salem. And I actually agree with that in general. I agree with Team RWBY on principle in the fact that this is a story of heroes and villains, so it's naturally the heroic thing, if a bit naive, to think, oh, well, we want to try and save these people. Even though there's this unstoppable immortal force on her way. I understand that Ironwood's terrified, his PTSD is acting up because of the chess piece, and Salem has literally said, well, the stage is set for me, so expect me. And he's in panic mode. And what I love about that is that Cinder probably didn't intend for this much consequence as the result of her actions. Keep in mind, she only wanted to ruffle Ironwood by using the chess piece to trigger his PTSD so that he would make his maiden decision and Winter would lead Cinder to the maiden. I don't think she planned any further ahead than that, like, because it was news to her that Salem's forces were even in Atlas. She is solely here for RWBY and to get the relic. and obviously, since she knows the Maiden's here, she wants the Maiden as well. But I mean, she is here independent of Salem's orders. Like, she has nothing to do with the overall plan. So while Salem's official people were successfully caught and things were looking up for the heroes, ironically, Cinder, who had nothing to do with their plans, turned things around for the villains by triggering Ironwood to the point that he was ready to run away and ditch everything. That is just well done, Cinder. Like, through complete accident. I am guaranteeing it was an accident. She only wanted to trigger him into accelerating the Maiden process. She did. How was she to know that it would end up with him having this big quarrel with Team RWBY? Ironwood speaking to Salem personally, and Team RWBY being placed under arrest. Like, she could not have accounted for all of that. So everything fell into place perfectly afterwards, and that is kind of amusing. But obviously, it's up to them to deal with everything now. Like, the description for this episode, like, even with everything going on and, you know, the general's orders for their arrest, you know, the heroes are forced to fight on all fronts to save the city Ironwood has abandoned. So I think this their fighting is going to spill out onto the streets, or it's going to be Team RWBY versus the Aesops and, you know, the rest of Juniper still helping around the city while also evading Elysian Knights. Speaking of Elysian Knights, in Oscar's room for the cliffhanger for last time, really funny that Oscar of all things was the cliffhanger when we had all the Ironwood drama going on. There was a lot of broken knights all over the floor. Now I'm at a crossroads between what I think happened there. Either they came to take the relic off Oscar to hand it over to Ironwood because he already decided that he was keeping it before, you know, as he was calling everyone in. I wonder if he also sent some knights out to fetch the relic from Oscar and he put up a fight because, like, hang on, something's not right here, and he made a run for it. Or the other possibility is that Neo made it to his room and there was a struggle and the knights came because of the struggle and Neo destroyed them as well. So Oscar might have been kidnapped by Neo, or he is on the run from the Elysian Knights. So there's two possibilities for where Oscar is right now as far as I'm concerned. So we might bump into him in the streets, or he's with Neo. But either way, I'm expecting to see Neo at some point in this. I know that this is mainly going to be about Team RWBY versus the Aesops, but I think that we can squeeze in whatever Cinder and Neo are up to, because we've had enough focus on Watts and Tyrion while their thing was going on, but now they've been defeated, so it makes sense if we now, when we tune in with the villains, to be tuning into Cinder and Neo. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm super ready for this. I've only seen one GIF, I think, from the fights. There's no harm in me saying it. It's just when RWBY does this, like, or it's either RWBY or Harriet does a swivel around the other's neck. I saw that on Twitter ages ago, and I thought, oh, that looks like a fun fight. So, yeah, let's get into this. I'm ready for some entertaining fights. Yeah, RWBY did really well getting that warning out. That's quick protagonist thinking.
Martial law? We cannot let him do this.
Miss Hill, I'm sure the General understands the enormity of this. Clover.
This is gonna hurt, Crow.
You should know that I've been asked to bring you in.
A free ride and a show.
There's also an alert out for Team RWBY's arrest.
What?
Agent of Chaos.
James lost his mind?
He's trying to stop anybody who might get in the way of this inhumane plan. Looks like he underestimated me. Again.
Only Crow is under arrest. After everything we've been through tonight, please don't make me arrest you too.
Cut it out, both of you. We're almost back to Atlas. Let's talk to James personally.
It's taking a very long time for this show to get to the good part. Shut up.
He's right. Let's get this over with.
Robin?
Well, you done it now. I like how Crow tried to be diplomatic.
Doesn't have to.
You can hug it out once we've taken him down.
Bye! This is the second time a prison transport has gone wrong when Tyrion's involved.
Of our goddess!
Oh, I love you, Tyrion.
Weiss, what did you do? The general is leaving Mantle to perish?
He's saving Remnant. We can't let the relics fall to Salem.
But all those people we just protected,
Yeah,
they
it's
won't
a
survive.
very
We don't have time.
nuanced
That
debate.
doesn't bother you? What about your sister? Our friends?
My personal feelings don't matter. We have orders. I'm to retrieve the power of the Winter Maiden so we can access the relic. You're here to ensure my safety. Now come on. We've already lost enough time.
It should matter.
Penny, the General is making hard choices so we don't have to. For the good of all, not just a few.
I do not see what is good about any of this.
On that we can agree.
Yeah, that's
Please,
war.
think about what you're doing.
Like,
You heard the general.
there are no good
And so this
choices in
sorted
war,
out,
really.
you're under arrest.
That's what a lot of people don't understand about Ironwood.
Please, don't make this difficult.
Don't make us have to get out of here by force.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're not actually going to slug this out, are we?
We're not doing anything. They decide what happens next. You think you're going to stop us?
Poor Marrow.
We're the best huntsmen in Atlas.
You were. Then you trained us.
Yeah, I said that they were getting stronger. Oh, this is already so cool.
Come on, Harriet! We're playing right into Salem's hands! You know we need to be working together!
Oh, don't give me that crap. I had you kids pegged right from the start.
You were the one that said you were excited to see what they could do, so don't lie. Well, that did nothing, Yang.
If you come peacefully, we won't hurt you.
Speak for yourself! They betrayed us!
You're betraying the people you've sworn to protect!
It's not worth it, Blake. They're just following orders now.
Ah, yeah, you do. Oh, that's how you get into the heads of military dogs. You call a spade, you call him a dog. No offense, Marrow.
I know you sneeze are used to getting what you want, but it's time to let this one go.
This is my home. And I'm not giving it up without a fight.
Yeah, come on, Weiss, win a 1v1 for once. Tyrion, you really have, like, the worst / best luck with prison transports.
Robin needs help. Surrender, and we can take her to Atlas. Get her patched up.
Never pegged you for the manipulative type, but I've learned a lot of things tonight.
I enjoyed working with you, you know. Even with that endless cynicism of yours.
I'm usually proven right.
We don't have to fight, friend.
You don't know my friends. That's how it always goes.
Yeah, this is going to be so difficult for Crow. Like, he really hit it off with him. And you could tell that Clover really doesn't want to fight. Why did... Oh, wow, yeah, you are... You know what? That's actually really awesome. Okay? That fits so well for a madman like him that he would crush / dislocate whatever his own thumb to get out of his restraints.
Oh, don't stop on my account.
Wasn't planning on it.
He'd much rather fight you than fight Clover. I just absolutely love Tyrion's role in this. It's like the perfect role he could have played.
Me and you have a score to settle.
Oh, I agree. So what say we put the kid to bed and then finish it?
It really is impressive how he's made a fishing rod work for him. Wow, he's actually teamed up with Tyrion! Oh, they really want to settle their grudge match that badly.
Marrow, cut the crap, will you?
I'm trying to arrest her, not kill her, Hair. You're being excessive.
It's not excessive if it's necessary.
So she is one of the more heavily indoctrinated ones. Ooh, hammer time.
Time to wrap this up, Vine. They've had their chance. Don't be soft.
Are you telling me? Or yourself?
Oh yes, the Bumblebee teamwork. Ah yes, excellent use of semblance. Oh, this volume's been so good with the combat. Oh my gosh. Yet Team RWBY have surpassed you. I was loving noticing this in the earlier chapters. Can you only tell one thing at a time? Yes. Oh, come on, RWBY. What have you got? What have you got? I love that it's basically like Sonic versus Shadow. Speed versus speed. Oh, this is so good. That's the image of her spinning around. Oh, there's the Rooster Teeth thumbnail. Wow, Wise, did you have to steal Ruby's thunder like that? But whatever, it was pretty cool to just block her off like that.
He can't access the relic. He can't move Atlas.
We just have to get to the Winter Maiden. Blake and I will look for the others.
But our scrolls don't.
False alarm.
This is the part where they ask us to help.
Oh, Maria, I've missed you.
Here. Oscar! Oscar! Oscar!
Oh,
You're here!
that's Neo. That's Neo.
No!
That's Neo. So I was right that Neo found him, not...
This crazy girl showed up and attacked me.
Hey,
She
it
looked
was
like
the
someone
Neo
else.
option.
Neapolitan.
You know her?
We haven't exactly heard good things.
What? Neo got decked?
Feelings for her.
Like, that was
You said
unexpected.
your personal feelings do not matter.
They won't change my actions. What I'm committed to. The power of the Winter Maiden and the relic must be kept from our enemies. Even if it means she dies.
Yeah, this is the morally questionable
Yes,
thing about
and
this.
We must
Accelerating
still
her death.
acknowledge our personal feelings. Wrestle with them. It ensures us that we're on the right path. It's what makes us human.
I think I understand.
What was that?
Because accelerating her death beyond natural causes would count as murder. And speaking of murder, Cinder's here to do it in your place. I really love the explosion effects in this volume.
Both of Ironwood's puppets. Lucky me.
They've really
You
perfected
were
the animation.
responsible for Beacon, for what happened to me.
It was, unfortunately, temporary. Now step aside or there won't be anything left to salvage this time. What do you think of that?
I think I've missed your voice, Jessica.
It gives me personal feelings.
Put that on a shirt. Picture of Penny, like, this gives me personal feelings. I'm so happy that they justified Penny's re-inclusion. She's been such a treat in this volume. I really love the bizarre instance of Tyrion and Crow somewhat working together for the end goal of dueling each other. Ooh.
Why couldn't you just do the right thing? Instead of the thing you were told?
Sometimes the right decision is the hardest to make. I trust James with my life. I wanted to trust you.
Crow once felt the same about Ozpin, is what I was going to say. Oh, shit. He's dead. That's pretty graphic for RWBY.
Doesn't look like your friend's gonna make it.
I'll kill you!
Oh, you mean like you just killed Clover?
Oh, he did it with his weapon.
Ah, here they come. Right on time.
Oh no, Tyrion! Oh, you clever bastard!
Oh, looks like our score will have to wait. You know my track record with the authorities.
You always escape. That's not actually a. That's not actually a point. You'll always escape. But shit, he just went
Someone
up in my rankings again.
James will take the fall. I'll make sure of it.
Good luck.
I can't believe it. Oh, I feel so bad for Crow. Damn. Okay, that didn't get me even close to tearing up because a panel or a screen, I don't know, not a thumbnail, but sort of an image from this episode showed Crow like in tears. So I thought something was gonna happen, but I didn't think it'd be Tyrion, and doing such a clever play, like using Crow's own weapon to really rub it in. I guess that was the bad luck of him just leaving it there, because he saw his weapon, was gonna pick it up, but then ran in another direction, and Tyrion eyed it just before he obviously picked it up. But so I'm guessing that was, you know, the bad luck of leaving his weapon lying around for this murderer to pick up. But damn, he even seems to imply that he has just, in killing Clover, also framed Crow for it by using his weapon, because I think he pointed out that an Atlas ship was approaching and he wanted to get out of there because, as he said, he doesn't get along well with the authorities. But as I said, you always get out anyway, so you have nothing to fear. But oh wow, as I said, that really puts Tyrion up in my villain standings. Like, I already loved him before, but I thought his major involvement was done. As soon as he was defeated and arrested, I thought he was done. Yeah, he gave that little snide chuckle when the news first came through from RWBY, but oh boy, I didn't expect the kind of involvement he ended up getting there. First as an excited spectator, then as a tag team with Crow, because he's like, let's have our duel. Like, let's get this chump out of the way. But then that led to Clover getting killed, which is going to cause all sorts of self-blame and guilt inside Crow. And now he's sworn a vendetta against Ironwood because obviously he's traced the root of this conflict back to the decision he's made to arrest everyone instead of talking it out. So yeah, this, as somebody pointed out during other reactions that I've been watching to this volume so far, it's really evident that they've got some great new writers on board, like this Eddie Rivers that I see in the credits. Eddie Rivers, like a lot of the most well-received episodes seem to have involvement from good old Eddie. Like, and like whatever he's brought to this volume, it's like gold dust. Like, there have always been things, even for someone positive like me, to nitpick, or little scenes that I'd skip over in any of the previous volumes. Or this is one of the, I swear, volume 7 is a volume that I've been able to watch from minute 1 to minute last in every reaction series I've watched to it. Like, that is rare for me, and I'm someone who's positive with this series. I usually try and skip around to the big important beats I want people to react to, but volume 7 has demanded that I watch the whole thing again, like every minute of every chapter again. It's been an enjoyable, thoroughly enjoyable, self-contained story. From the characterization, to the music choices, to the perfected animation, to the pacing, everything has felt right. It's felt on point. It's felt like, I don't know, the highest level that they could get it based on what they originally wanted the show to be. I feel like the show has peaked. I feel like, as in terms of how it's made, how it's produced, how it's put out there, how it feels as a finished product, I think this is peak RWBY. And if they can keep this volume 7 standard going through however many volumes they have left, this era of volume 4 to 5 that people seem to look down on because they were still finding their feet with the new engine, the pacing, the writing and all sorts, trying to adjust to the new darker storyline, and like, you know, there's a lot of things people disagree on when it comes to the characters and the layout of how things have gone and stuff, but surely more people agree than don't agree that Volume 7 marks a huge uptick And as some have said, part of that's down to obviously these new writers on board and the fact that they've perfected the animation style. I really enjoy the use of the 2D smoke and flame effects over the top of all the 3D animation going on. How everything's a little bit quicker now. How the combat was so dynamic with all the different angle choices and stuff. This volume has been epic. I really enjoyed, by the way, even though I didn't comment on it much at the time, I really enjoyed that the conversation between Penny and Winter is still going on, that they started having to do with acting on emotion rather than just staying in line all the time from cordially invited or whenever. I like that that's continued as a thread, like characters interacting as people with each other and not relying on the main cast to talk with them. I love that in stories. I love when the characters have the agency to talk to each other about problems as part of a secondary cast. Like, they can have their own little thing going on that's completely separate from the main people. I love that there's been lots of that in this volume. I really love how Penny and Winter are having realizations about the seriousness of the bad parts of the things that they believe. Penny was forced to acknowledge that, just like Team RWBY, her belief that it was absolutely wrong to do what Ironwood's trying to do is painted with a little bit of naivety. And she was made to realise that. But Winter was also made to somewhat realise that just blindly listening to orders like an actual machine isn't all that healthy either. Like, there does need to be some kind of balance. And Team RWBY was even rubbing it into the Aesops, like especially Elm, or I swear I've started getting the name. Yeah, Elm, because she can plant her feet like roots. Yeah, it was especially getting through to Elm, who was getting frustrated and having to tell herself, don't go easy on them, like trying to follow orders to the letter. I felt so bad for Marrow. He was the one who did not want to fight from the start. I mean, Harriet surprised me and didn't surprise me. Didn't surprise me that she was the most hard-headed of all of them, because she was obviously the tomboyish go-getter, like, you know, the proper, like, oh yeah, rugged, like, so it doesn't come as a surprise to me that she was the most headstrong in following what Ironwood wanted. But she also did kind of confuse me, because she was one of those that was like, yeah, let's see what you kids can do in the beginning. And now she's like, I had you pegged from the start. Pegged as what? Like, you clearly liked them. So don't you lie, unless I'm completely misinterpreting what she said. Yeah, this is pretty much how I expected the fallout to go. I didn't think that any of our team would lose, although Weiss had a worrying record up until this point, I must admit. She's finally won a 1v1 fight, although I'm sure people will say, oh, well, Marrow's heart wasn't really in it. Shut up. Every fight counts. It has to count, otherwise Weiss fans probably never get an opportunity like this again. Let us have this. Let us have it. Marrow decided to take part, even if he wasn't that willing, and he lost. He'll have to deal with it. I'm sorry, Marrow. Yeah, but yeah, as I was saying during the rescue scenes, in I think As Above, Down Below, or in Out in the Open, whichever one had more of the grim fighting, I was saying, oh, Team RWBY have come on so far, especially how they were talking about in an even earlier chapter about how their semblances were evolving and they were getting stronger every day in training. Ren ended up being spot on when the Aesops questioned, oh, you're going on missions already? You've been official for an hour. Like, it's a, well, we want to always be prepared, always keep improving and training. And I think that difference in attitude ended up saving Team RWBY. Because I think there was a little bit of complacency among the rank of the Aesops. Like, they were already at this specific level, and there wasn't really a need to train to improve. And even after defending Mantle, Harriet was like, oh, well, doing all that was exhausting. Can't imagine doing it all again against Salem's force as an even bigger force. Like treating it like sort of I know what she was actually saying. Like, obviously, you're going to be wary about an exhausting fight ahead, but they've always thought about things in terms of an objective, whereas Team RWBY more treat their huntership as sort of a way of life. That they are on the bigger quest here. They are trying to save all of Remnant day by day and take down the threats that they have to, and they have always been scrapping and surviving to get to this point. And as I said, Volume 7 would serve as their training arc, and so it has proved. Like, under the guidance of the Aesops and through constant missions, constant training, constant grim hunts, constant fighting, like for weeks or even months on end, like they have beefed. They have evolved and they have surpassed the Aesops. As RWBY said, you were the best until you trained us. Like, because added to what Team RWBY have already gone through, they rose above. I love it. I love it. The only thing I don't love is that Crow's friendship had to end, and in the worst possible way. Killed with his own weapon because he carelessly left it in front of Tyrion. That is the biggest oof that his character could ever receive. And I know he's sworn revenge against Ironwood, but come on, that was all Tyrion. Like, and in fact, can I blame Robin? Because Crow was like, oh, come on, we're on our way to Atlas anyway. Let's just talk this out with James there. Like, if Robin would have just accepted that Crow wanted to do that instead of shooting and starting the conflict off, maybe this would have all gone very differently, but then we wouldn't have a story, would we? But in the grand scheme of things, like, the butterfly effect of all of this is Robin deciding to shoot. That's all I'm gonna say. But whoo, wow. I knew that the fight was going to be good, but I did not expect it to be that awesome. If there was anything I could level criticism at, it's the fact that this episode wasn't twice as long so that those fights could be twice as long. Because for awesome as they were, I felt like they were too short. Like, but in the best way. It's not like I felt like the fights themselves were rushed. I just felt like I could have watched what was happening on my screen for another 5 minutes apiece for each fight. That speaks leaps and bounds for how far they've come with the combat. I feel like this was as close to the Volume 2 style combat as we've gotten. Like, this was some really slick stuff. You know how they reused some of the unused Yang versus Adam footage that Monty was doing for the fight against Adam in Volume 6, and that's why it looks so good? You gotta wonder, have they used more deleted stuff in this volume? Because some of this has been super sick. Whatever the case, they really seem to be nailing it. Like, this is already my favourite volume. I don't care if the finale bombs, according to my personal taste. Like, overall, I would have to say this is really going to be hard to top as a favourite volume as a whole, as a contained story. And we might not even be leaving Atlas yet. Like, I think... Because there's only two ways next episode can end. Salem shows up at the very end and we're going to spend the next volume dealing with her. Or, like, we avert whatever's going on, come up with whatever solution, and Team RWBY and Crow have to flee because obviously they're wanted by Ironwood now or something like that, and we move on to the next location. So like, it would only make sense after we spent all this time coming to Atlas to stay here. So I assume that this Salem conflict is going to end on a bad cliffhanger, like how Book 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender ended with the heroes losing, to directly continue on into the next book/volume. Like, that would be a really cool parallel to Avatar. Like, we actually end this volume on a note of hopeless despair to pick things up next volume. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, the last thing that I want to say is that I'm super glad that I called that it didn't have to be the Elysian Knights showing up to take Oscar's relic. It was Neo immediately locating him, but Oscar, like the competent little kid he is, like he fought her off, and I knew as soon as Oscar appeared and didn't say anything that was Neo right then. And, you know, I'm really happy that I did guess that Neo had probably already got to him. That was pretty cool on my part, I think. Because I had no reason to believe that she was that quick in getting to him. I just had a feeling that because there was a struggle in the room, that he must have been ambushed by Neo. So, as it turned out, it did strike me as a little bit funny, though, that the rest of Juniper were like, well, where the hell's Oscar? And then immediately around the corner steps Neo. That's what initially made me a bit apprehensive. Like, it shouldn't be that easy, surely. And then when I saw he didn't say anything, I was like, that's Neo! Oh, shit! And, you see, that's something else that this volume's been doing well. Like, the dramatic beats hit exactly when they're supposed to. And I love that, especially when Cinder appeared in the hallway and Winter, like, ducked into the room as the fireballs came down the hallway. That was some good playing around with the 3D environment. I really loved that. And it's like, lock the door. I'm just going to blast it down anyway. There was, like, little bits of sort of humor put in there, like, I don't know, situational humor, like a bit of gallows humor, whatever you want to call it. Oh man. So yeah, that's gonna be an intense conclusion, whatever's gonna happen in the maiden room, because I think Cinder's gonna fail, because I don't really see how that's fair if they let her have 2 different maiden powers. Gee, Bill, how come your mom lets you have 2 maiden powers? No skins. I just don't see it happening, because she will then be too broken. But jeez. Oh man. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I want to say? Oh yeah, the most hilarious detail of this for me was something Neo was not expecting when she appeared as Oscar, that the real one would just come up and absolutely deck her across the face. That shocked expression on Neo as she's transforming back, that was hilarious. I can't wait to add some sort of meme to that if I ever do another RWBY shenanigans video, because Volume 7 is giving me quite a lot of material, I must say. Like, I know that Pony Shenanigans 18 was supposed to be my last shenanigans video, but that's for the pony stuff. I could easily do another RWBY shenanigans if I keep getting more moments like this. We'll have to see what Volume 8 gives me as well. But for now, we've got one more episode to watch, and I shall see you guys next time.